Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekon Onobanjo. The top stories at this hour. Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike reveals that suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara recently visited him to seek reconciliation. UTME candidates to sue JAM over technical glitches amid mass failure. Ivory Coast's main opposition leader quits office, vows to contest 2025 election. Details to come your way shortly. Let's begin in Abuja, where the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State is making reconciliatory moves and had visited him in company of two governors. Wike said this on Monday during his latest media chat with senior journalists in Abuja, where he also spoke on several issues affecting the People's Democratic Party as well as infrastructure expansion in the FCT.
You get money for the federal allocation. So what is this for the people? Did you give him a chance for peace? I cannot. You came with people for the first time. Yeah, did you agree or follow up? I will not say follow up. Now, why do you talk like that? You came and say it's good. Now, what does it mean? Having done that, you take the necessary steps. Let's talk about you talk as if you are not. Is anybody who's under? Yes, hold on. Is there anybody who's under 18 here? Hey, Governor, why would you have to ask me what are the necessary steps? What are the conditions you give? What conditions? What are the conditions? Let me tell you. I told him. I said, look, I don't think you have the capacity to really make this peace. Because that's easy. And that's why when I read what I read yesterday, I felt so bad. I said, why? We are making peace. There are people are demonstrating every day. If they are making peace, there are people are busy on television insulting people. How do you feel in that case? No, that's what I'm saying now. That's not the point I'm making. At least you have not tried to take the steps to say, look, I'm not a party to all the things that you are doing. You understand me? But that's not enough to say you have really, you must take steps. Have you made assembly before? There are leaders you should meet. I don't know what I'm understanding. It's not to say, I want this. Yes.
In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party has set up a committee to reconcile aggrieved members ahead of its National Executive Committee meeting. The committee is said to be headed by a former Senate President, Bukola Saraki. This was disclosed at the end of a meeting held at the Abuja Lodge of the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum and Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, on Sunday night. The meeting also had the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, in attendance. He, however, did not speak to journalists. Briefing journalists, the Bauchi governor said the meeting was convened ahead of the party's scheduled NEC, which has been slated for the end of May. He, however, disclosed that the party was strategizing to ensure that some of the states where the party had governors were reclaimed. Still talking politics, following the conclusion of the local government election primaries in Lagos State, some female aspirants are crying foul over the conduct of the exercise. According to them, there was a presidential order allowing a mandatory 3 female representation in Ward A, B, and F, but the results of the exercise left much to be desired. They say this amounts to neglecting female representations in politics and call on the APC leadership to look into the matter.
That was yesterday. The way I'm seeing it is like they are trying to play hanky-panky to the female aspirants. I felt very, very bad and I felt cheated. And I know I'm going to aspire the position back because it is the presidential order and no one can turn it off. My next action is to go straight to my state chairman to tell him what is going on and also to the state chairman to tell him what is going on in Nigeria fellow local government. That is it.
What happened now is that they said in 3 words, that is word A, word B, and word F, to produce a female candidate. That is the female councillor. We have 9 words. The party says, out of that 9 words, 3 female must emerge as our candidate. But as of now, I only aware of 1. That is from word F. She came to me today to say she won the election. As word A and word B, I don't know what is wrong there, because I'm not there. But the party said there must be 3 female candidates in our local government, because we have 9 wards. They say after that 9 wards, 3 must be female.
Away from that, the immediate past national vice president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Chris Pewuna, a professor of medicine and a consultant psychiatrist, has been elected the union's national president. Pewuna, a former dean of students' affairs at the University of Jos, Plateau State, emerged victorious at an election during the union's 23rd National Delegates Conference, which commenced on Thursday, May 8, and was concluded on Monday, May 12, at the University of Benin in Benin City, Edo State. The new president defeated his opponent, Adamu Babayo, a professor from Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi State, northeast Nigeria. The immediate past president of the union, Emmanuel Shodeke, who was elected in May 2021, has handed over to his successor. Thousands of candidates who sat the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination are set to file a lawsuit against the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. This follows widespread complaints of technical glitches and incomplete questions that allegedly marred the exam. Last week, JAMB announced that over 1.5 million out of the 1.9 million that sat this year's UTME scored below 200 out of the total 400 marks. The outcome raised concern in the country, with the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, asserting that the mass failure showed effective anti-malpractice efforts by JAMB. However, an education advocate, Alex Onya, announced that legal proceedings would commence at the Federal High Court on Monday against JAMB. Onya revealed that over 8,000 affected students had submitted formal complaints calling on JAMB to release detailed marking sheets and allow candidates to verify their scores. We take you to Katsina now, where ordinary men have become unlikely soldiers. Farmers, traders and fathers, now armed with little more than courage and weapons, stand as the last line of defense against bandits. But how did we get here? Why did they decide to join the vigilante group? Jamil Mabai brings us their gripping story of survival, sacrifice, and a desperate plea for help.
Sadiq Kudewa once sold fish for a living. Today, he carries a gun to survive and protect his loved ones. Like hundreds of others across Katsina State, he never wanted to be a vigilante, but banditry left him no choice.
Sun shigo garinmu a ranar Laraba suka ɗauki matar wani yayanmu, suka ɗauki ɗan shi, suka ɗauki wata matar wani abokinmu, suka ɗauki sannan kuma suka ɗauki tsoho wani abokinmu. To daga wannan lokacin naga ya kamata ma in aje wacce sana'i domin in zo in kare kaina, in kare iyalina, in kare haƙƙin mutanen garinmu, a mutanen al'umma ga Najeriya.
This is the evolution of Katsina State vigilantes, from farmers and traders armed with din guns to a structured frontline force. Their greatest weapon, an intimate knowledge of the terrain, which even the most elite of Nigeria's security forces lacks.
They know the terrain more than the security agents, and in most cases, they know these bandits and their informants more than the security agents.
And the good advantage of these vigilantes, they know the terrain, each and every one of them. If you go to Bagali, the vigilantes that are there, they know every nook and corner of Bazari, and they know the hideouts of the bandits. They know their capacities. They know their identities.
Their tactics are inspired by trauma and pain. Many of them have felt the biting reality of banditry. They have become victims in their ancestral homes. Abdul Rashid Osman joined after surviving 4 assassination attempts.
Barayi sun mani riko kusan kashi 4 neman su kashe ni, Allah bai kashe ni ba. Shine ya jaza ƙara ƙarfin gwiwa ta in rike wannan aiki.
Saida Gambo, once a critic, picked up a gun when bandits kidnapped his grandchild.
Abin da ya ja hankali na ya shiga bidiranci a da ni nan in ka ganni in na ga dan banga a da wani lokacin kyamar shi nake. Dalilin shiga ta wannan aiki tun ina jin labari wai sai Allah ya kawo bandit yan iska suka zo a garin mu suka dauki sarakuwata, suka dauki jika na, suka dauki mata abokina.
Their plea is simple. They want real military support. Many of them are farmers, fathers, uncles, all failed by the system.
Muna samun koma baya ga sojoji irin yadda duk ba a zato. Saboda dabbobin nan na nan karkara ba na cikin dajin ba suna nan inda suke har yanzu. Kuma mun san inda suke ba mu san inda suke ba. Babban abin da ke ba mu takaici yana ba mu mamaki. Wata sa'a jirgi in ya zo sai ya zanto taimako ne ga su bandit. Idan zai jeho a nan kaya sai dibi wani hilin banza can ya jeho su ya tafiya su.
Until the war reaches its end, Katsina vigilantes say that they will keep fighting. The big question remains, how many more must trade their livelihoods for guns? In Katsina, for News Central, I am Jamil Mabai.
Thank you so much, Jamil, for bringing us this story. Let's go on a break now. When we return, criticisms trail composition of the National Housing and Census Committee. We'll tell you the details when we return and bring you other stories too. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us. The legal tussle between Kogi Senator Natasha Akpotudwanga and the Nigerian Senate took a new twist on Monday as the Federal High Court in Abuja suspended proceedings for the hearing of the suit. The court says that it will first determine whether Akpotudwanga breached an earlier order restraining her from making social media posts related to the case. Our correspondent, Joshua Marayi, has the details from the courtroom.
The much-anticipated hearing in the Akpotudwanga case took a different turn on Monday as the court shifted focus to an alleged violation of its earlier order, which barred public commentaries, social media posts, and live broadcasts relating to the issue. The proceedings paused after the counsel to the Senate and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Paul Daudu, raised an objection, alleging that a social media post linked to the suspended lawmaker breached a standing court order. Daudu says that the post referenced mocked the Senate and its president, despite an explicit order which barred the parties from public commentary on the case. However, counsel to Akpotudwanga and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Michael Numa, objected, saying that the post was satirical and unrelated to the case, rather to the issue of sexual harassment. He also alleged that the defendant also employed the services of certain individuals who went on television to make public commentary on the case. The counsel to the Senate and the President of the Senate objected, denying that individuals mentioned was not connected to them or the case. Justice Binta Yago further ruled that the court must first rule on whether contempt has occurred. With the issue of contempt now in focus, the substantive case remains on hold until a ruling is made on Tuesday, May the 13th. In Abuja for News Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Away from that, criticisms have continued to trail the composition of the National Housing and Census Committee set up by the federal government to look into finances and mode for the forthcoming census. The committee, chaired by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, has 5 members drawn from the Southwest. Critics of the committee mostly believe that many of its compositions are lopsided and do not reflect federal character. The presidency, through the special assistant to the president on social media, Dada Olusegun, has attempted to defend the composition of the committee, arguing that its members were selected based on the relevance of their current roles to the success of the census. Now, the recent announcement by the Abuja state government to convert the site and structures of the state's new government house has been applauded by residents and indigents alike. The controversy surrounding the neglect of the site by Governor Alex Otti since assuming office in 2023 came to the fore again last week. The Commissioner for Information in the state, Okekano, took some journalists to tour the facility that has elicited lots of concerns. News Central's Siminalayi has more in this package.
Happening, and we just want to reassure Abuja that this government will never misuse the resources of this place. So that's why we are converting this place to a 5-star hotel. We won't allow it to waste. The government will want a different international hospitality chain to run this one.
It is no longer news that former Governor Okeze Ikpeazu, in the company of his colleagues, commissioned this project in the twilight of his administration. But to the amazement of the people of the state, Governor Alex Otti totally avoided the new site, raising questions to his reasons. Recently, Anambra State government unveiled the state's new government house, which might have instructed the decision by the Abia State government to completely jettison the new site. During the facility tour, which comes 23 months after assumption of office, Commissioner for Information Okekano declares the facility was not built for residential purpose.
Most of what we saw up there were just halls, empty halls. Did anybody see any wardrobe in any of the floors? There were no wardrobes. So this one begins to wonder, the person and persons that designed this so-called government house, one begins to wonder what they had in mind when they designed this kind of government house and expected a governor to come and live in this kind of place. This place appears uninhabitable.
This announcement does not come to the people as a surprise because they feel it has been a waste of resources, allowing it to lie unused.
Since governments, they've decided to use that place as a 5-star hotel, I think economic-wise, they must have studied and know that it will benefit the states.
Assets that are not yielding profit or revenue to the state can also be converted to a revenue venture, so long as there is an authority. When I mean authority, I'm talking about another befitting government house, and instead of allowing that particular infrastructure to lie fallow without generating any revenue. And also, remember, if the government is actually going to turn it to a 5-star hotel, it's also going to generate employment.
While the governor continues to operate from his private residence in Mvosi, Isialang, the South local government area of Abia State, citing the uninhabitable condition of the new site, the masses will also want the governor to occupy the old official residence and office space where others before him lived and worked in. In Omaha for News Central, Siminalayi.
Away from that to power crisis. For over 8 months, residents of the Abuja Sheraton area in Maiduguri have been living without electricity, a situation they blame on the failure of a government agency to repair a faulty transformer. The committee's frustration has grown as not only has the power supply been cut off for an extended period, but there are also allegations that the government agency responsible for repairs gave away the transformer to another community despite residents' collective efforts to fund its restoration. News Central's Morikawa completes the report.
The Abuja Sheraton community, known for its growing population in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, relies heavily on electricity to power essential services like water supply and health care. With the power outage still unresolved, these services have been severely impacted, leaving residents struggling with water shortages and limited access to effective medical facilities.
The governor is making effort to make sure the community is enjoying, but some few individuals are sabotaging the effort of the governor. The hospital needs light. At times, If there is cloud, the solar there cannot perform well. And many community households here have boreholes, and they are assisting their neighbors with water, but no light. So we are calling on the government to please urgently look into our plight.
These things happened 3 times. We have been following up to get the transformer, but unfortunately proved abortive. Finally, we got information from a reliable source that our transformer has been taken to another place, of which we are not happy with it. In fact, we are happy to see you in our community to say our grievances with regard to this one.
Bol ba ma samun ruwa da mutane za su sha unguwa, ruwa ana sayan kusan naira 500. So ka gani da lokacin da akwai wutan nan kuma gaskiya muna samun 200-300. Kuma yawanci ma muna da gidajen da suke da bowl wanda su suke taimakawa makwabtan su ma. Ba sai an yi wani abu ba. Gaskiya mu tun da aka yi mana wannan kwaltan da drainage nan ba abin da zamu ce sai dai mu yi wa gwamna godiya. Yayi mana amma yanzu wannan abin da yake damu mu shine wannan.
The lack of power has disrupted daily life in the area, as households and businesses are forced to rely on expensive alternatives.
It's really affecting our business seriously. Assuming there's light, the business will flow. Anywhere that comes, you will get something very cold. But now, no light, nothing, so they don't have anything cold for them to take. So it's affecting us seriously.
Gas kullum da ka siya gas na 5,000-6,000 kafin ka yi amfani da gas ka yi amfani da shi. Kuma wayancan su da suke amfani da wuta daga the same price za ku sayar da abinku. Amma duk da haka nasu sai yafi naka sanyi. Duk da hakan amma kuma duk da haka da ku siyar. So muna roƙo a samu mana transformer.
Ana samun kuɗi ba wuta, amma inda wuta wani sa'in ma hin hikar ban zo bane. Inda wuta can go aikin gona nake.
The ongoing situation has put additional pressure on the community's resources and has heightened calls for accountability.
Ko dare yayi ma ka fito a cikin anguwa haka kaga duhu sosai ba ko ina bane ake sola ko kuma generator. Ya zama ko ina akwai duhu idan zai yi sai adam o mana.
Efforts to speak with Yola Electricity Distribution Company on the issue proved abortive. I called the regional manager. He asked me to speak with the Bulunkutu business unit. I've tried to reach the man in charge, but he's not picking my calls. When I sent text message, the manager responded that he has no clearance to grant interviews. He asked me to contact the regional HR, but her line is not reachable.
Community leaders of Abuja Sheraton here in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, have vowed to continue pressing for an action and are calling on the government to restore power to the community to benefit the citizenry. From Abuja Sheraton in Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Away from that, the United Nations Population Fund, in partnership with local stakeholders, organized an engagement in Maiduguri aimed at empowering women through the use of artificial intelligence with the theme AI for Women Empowerment. The event brought together women from various sectors, including the academia, business, among others, to explore the transformative potential of AI in their careers and enterprises. Again, News Central's Umar Kirawa completes the reports.
From small and large business owners to professionals in the tech industry and academia, an avenue to optimize business processes loaded with invaluable knowledge is the technology artificial intelligence. Experts here encourage the citizenry, particularly women, to view AI not just as a tool for business growth, but also as an opportunity to bridge the knowledge gap and access new avenues for learning.
To every woman out there, I really want to encourage you to try using AI to empower yourself the more. You could be a woman that you are doing your business at home. It could be a hair style. You could be a hairstylist. You could be a lady doing lalle henna. You could be cooking. It could be shoemaking. It could be this cap knitting and other stuff. You can use AI to upgrade your business.
This is one technology that has been supporting in almost all sectors, and it's one thing that if we adapt, it would go a long way to support women and to support women empowerment at the state level, looking at issues around GBV, issues around health. Like I mentioned, education is one issue that we are facing, And with this solution, with this initiative, I believe it will go a long way to solve many of those problems. Women solving women's problem, I think, is the future for us in Borno State.
The engagement here saw enthusiastic participation from women entrepreneurs who were eager to explore how AI could improve their product offerings, expand their market reach, and streamline operations.
Ko da kayan wasu ne idan ka tashi za ka yi kai amfani da shi kana promoting, sannan kuma za ka ringa samun some little commission din da zai sa ka dan samu abu biyan bukatun ka na yau da na gobe.
The artificial intelligence has benefited me in so many ways. It has simplified my work in so many aspects, and also it has helped me in learning, and also as a writer it has helped me to get a good structure for my write-ups.
UNFPA and its partners emphasize the importance of closing the gender gap in technology and ensuring that women are not left behind as AI continues to shape the future of business and education. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Coming up on the news, Ivory Coast main opposition leader quits office, vows to contest 2025 election. We'll bring you more details of this and the rest of the stories in a short while. Do stay with us. Now, outside of Africa, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has introduced sweeping immigration reforms aimed at drastically reducing the number of people entering the United Kingdom. The measures come as public pressure intensifies following strong gains by anti-immigration parties in recent local elections. The new policy framework includes a longer residency requirements for settlement and citizenship, rising from 5 to 10 years. Language proficiency rules will also be tightened, mandating basic education for all adult dependents. The government's white paper outlines stricter enforcement and broader deportation powers targeting foreign nationals with criminal records. Additionally, visa rules are set to be revised to limit low-skilled migration, favoring high-skilled professionals in critical sectors. More than 24,000 individuals have reportedly been deported since last July's election, marking an 8-year high.
So as this white paper sets out, every area of the immigration system, work, family and study, will be tightened up so we have more control. Skill requirements raised to degree level. English language requirements across all routes, including for dependents. The time it takes to acquire settled status extended from 5 years to 10. And enforcement tougher than ever, because fair rules must be followed.
Well, for more on this, I'm joined by our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, it's nice to have you around. Kindly update us with the details of this UK government's new immigration policy.
Well, this long-awaited white paper that Keir Starmer released earlier on today is really about bringing the number of people that come to the UK against the number of people that leave the UK down. So you'll have English language requirements increased for all work visas, and they will also be applied to all adult dependents who apply for visas as well. That's a change to the previous rules. Now, the time the immigrants are in the UK before they can apply for a settled status is doubled. So it used to be 5 years and now it will be 10 years. But there will be a faster route for highly skilled, highly contributing people to the economy. So you also had a dedicated visa for social care providers. That was brought in to recruit people from abroad, and it was introduced after Brexit. That will now be abolished, and it will make it very difficult to use that route to perhaps come to the United Kingdom to be a care worker. Also, the threshold for skilled workers will be increased. So instead of just being or just having A levels, you will now need to have a degree, but lower requirements will be in place for key sectors and sectors where they have a shortage. Perhaps that will apply to the NHS. Also, the time that graduates can remain in the UK after their studies have finished
will be cut. It used to be 2 years, and now it will be cut to 18 months.
Quite big, I must say. Now, what has been the reaction to Keir Starmer's announcement this morning?
Well, the Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, she says she doesn't believe that Labour really wants to secure the border. She said Keir Starmer once called all immigration laws racist, so why would anyone believe he actually wants to bring immigration down? Now, that's in reference to a book that he reviewed when he was a lawyer in the 1990s. The Liberal Democrat spokesperson, Lisa Smart, said the government is right in taking steps to fix our broken immigration system. She said after the previous Conservative government's dire mismanagement, our immigration system has been left in tatters and public trust is shattered. But she said that the government needs a clear plan. The co-leader of the Green Party says the government is actively making things worse with its latest rules on immigration. Now, the refugee charity Care for Calais, they provide humanitarian assistance in northern France and in the UK. They accuse the Prime Minister of fanning the fire of the far right by using language like an island of strangers to discuss immigration. They say this is dangerous language for the Prime Minister to use, and asking if Keir Starmer has forgotten last summer's far-right riots.
So then this will probably be a knee-jerk reaction to the local elections last week in which the UK saw the rise of right-wing party reform, isn't it?
Well, it's coming across like that. Now, Keir Starmer is trying to insist that this is not just in reaction to reform and the rise of reform and the fact that they won a few more seats. Let's also remember that the Green Party won a lot more seats as well. Nigel Farage has said that Starmer is making promises that he cannot keep. He was in Calais and Dover today to show the scenes of migrants crossing in those small boats. About 250 men crossed the channel at 8 o'clock. He asked how many were Iranian terrorists. Of course, he cannot verify that claim. But a lot of people will be saying that, yes, Keir Starmer is reacting to the local elections last week, in which you had the rise of reform, you had the rise of this far-right party who have been hell-bent on basically closing the door to immigrants coming to this country. It does seem like a knee-jerk reaction, but Labour governments, as they came to power, have said that they will crack down on immigration, especially legal migration. And they are focusing on legal migration, not necessarily illegal migration, which could include those men coming across in small boats. It's all about bringing the number of net migration down, and the best way to do that is by tackling illegal migration, or so the Labour government see it.
Permit me to just ask this, Afia. How does it affect migrants who are hoping for a better life in terms of better job, or maybe furthering their academic pursuit amidst, limited alternatives?
Well, yeah, it's going to be more difficult for people to apply to, say, universities. Now, universities have already seen a 16% drop in international students coming to this country, and that's really problematic for universities and for their finances. If you have, if you're not allowed to bring dependents, which is a rule that has come in, if you necessarily have to have A-levels a degree rather than A-levels, then you won't necessarily be able to apply that to a job that you might have wanted to. Look, that care route that we've talked about, that's going to be tighter. It's going to be a lot more difficult for people to be able to move to the United Kingdom for want of a better life. Absolutely. And the Labour government have to acknowledge that they are going to make it much more difficult for people to be able to do that, for people to be able to move to the United Kingdom for work or for study. But we also have to think about the sectors in the UK that immigrants basically prop up. The NHS, the care sector, the building sector, these are jobs that are mainly taken by people who come into this country. So if you make it more difficult for people to come into the country and take those jobs, what happens to those sectors?
Big question. Thank you so much, Afia Hagen, for sharing the updates with us. Let's move on now. The US and China will on Monday give details of substantial progress on trade talks aimed at ending tariff between the two economic powers that has wiped billions of equities and brought chaos to international commerce. U.S. Treasury Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer met with Chinese Vice Premier that is Yi Lefeng, and International Trade Representative Li Xinghang in closed-door talks in Geneva on Saturday and Sunday. It was the first time senior officials from the world's two largest economies have met face-to-face to talk trade since Trump imposed steep new levies on China, totaling 145%, with cumulative U.S. duties on some Chinese goods reaching a staggering 245%. The trade spat between Washington and Beijing has rocked financial markets and raised fears of a global economic slowdown and an inflationary spike in the United States. Away from that, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas stated that a ceasefire is a prerequisite for any negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. Her remarks came ahead of a ministerial meeting in London where European leaders are discussing further support for Kyiv. Kallas expressed concern that Moscow is not engaging sincerely, accusing the Kremlin of using diplomatic overtures as a delay tactic. She stressed that sustained pressure must be applied to Russia to stop its military aggression. The EU continues to back Ukraine with military and economic aid while urging a resolution that respects Ukrainian sovereignty. The conflict, now in its third year, has resulted in widespread devastation and remains a top priority for European foreign policy.
In order to go into any peace talk, there has to be a ceasefire. And we also need to see that Russia wants this to show goodwill to sit down and talk to Ukrainians. So it is not there. We have to put pressure on Russia to really want peace and to sit down and to talk with Ukraine.
Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll bring you business and sports stories. Stay with us. Talking business now, Nigeria's 10 operational refineries with a combined capacity of 1.214 million barrels per day are operating at just 57.8% capacity, producing approximately 701,692 barrels daily. This leaves over 42% of the nation's refining capacity idle due to a significant shortfall in crude oil supply. The domestic crude supply obligation mandates 770,500 barrels per day for local refineries, yet allocations have been insufficient. For instance, in February and March 2025, only 1.9 million barrels were allocated, averaging 61,290 barrels per day, far below the required 385,000 barrels per day. Consequently, refineries, including Dangote Refinery, have resorted to importing crude oil to maintain operations. This supply gap hampers efforts to reduce dependence on imported refined products and achieve energy self-sufficiency. In the meantime, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has reduced the ex-depot price of premium motor spirit from 835 naira to 825 naira per litre. The new pricing, which takes immediate effect, aims to support Nigeria's efforts to stabilize fuel supply and reduce reliance on imports. According to industry sources, the 10 naira reduction is offered as a rebate after successful product loading, allowing customers to effectively pay 825 naira per litre. This move enables marketers to retail PMS between 830 and 835 naira per litre, undercutting prices from importing marketers and private depots. The covert price adjustment has allowed its customers and marketers to retail the product at the lower band of 830 and 835 naira, outpricing importing marketers and private depot owners. Away from that, we'll tell you that President Donald Trump announced plans to sign an executive order aimed at reducing U.S. prescription drug prices by 30 to 80%, aligning them with the lowest prices paid by other high-income countries. This most favored nation policy is expected to be signed on Monday morning, seeking to address the disparity where Americans often pay 3 to 10 times more for medications than patients in other nations. The initiative could potentially save the U.S. trillions of dollars annually. However, the pharmaceutical industry has expressed concerns with companies like AstraZeneca and GSK experiencing stock declines following the announcement. In sports, Nigeria will host the 2025 WAFU B Under-17 Championship in September, marking a significant step in its youth football development. The Nigeria Football Federation confirmed the announcements during a visit to Ogun State Governor Dakwa Abiodun. Matches will take place at the newly upgraded MKO Abiola Sports Complex in Abeokuta and the Remo Star Stadium in Ikenne. Participating nations include Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Niger Republic, Togo, Benin Republic, and Ghana. The tournament will double as the regional qualifiers for the 2025 Africa Under-17 Cup of Nations, with top-performing teams advancing to the continental competition. Nigeria last hosted the competition in 2001, making this a long-awaited return to the regional youth football stage.
The president of NFF has done something else. One, the All-African Under-18, Under-20 games will be hosted by us in July. The NFF has now won a bidding for 2 matches. As a matter of fact, 2 matches. One is a friendly with Cameroon, Falcons and Cameroon, right? Another one is also the WAFU, the Under-17 WAFU. 7 countries in Africa. So basically, our dream of creating a sports economy around the stadium is already unfolding because of the quality of the facilities that we have there. I believe that this is just the beginning. Ogun State is ready to ensure that we sustain this, and that stadium.
In the meantime, Remo Stars ladies edged Nigeria Tels 1-0, while Nasarawa Amazons and Bayelsa Queens settled for a 1-1 draw in Monday's NWFL Super 6 action in Ikenne, Ogun State. Bolaji Olamide's 14th minute goal handed Remo Stars ladies a crucial win, solidifying their title chase in the tightly contested 6-team championship. Earlier, Nasarawa broke the deadlock via a penalty in the 56th minute, but Bayelsa Queens hit back 6 minutes later through former Amazon Doshima Tanum. The draw marked the tournament's first stalemate. The results keep the standings balanced as teams push for the NWFL crown and continental qualification in the remaining fixtures. In Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain's Ousmane Dembele has been crowned Player of the Year after a standout season, leading to the club to its 13th league title and the Champions League final. Dembele tops the Ligue 1 scoring chart with 21 goals and has netted 33 across all competitions. He succeeds Kylian Mbappe, who dominated the award for 5 consecutive years. PSG manager Luis Enrique was named Coach of the Year, while Desiree Doué earned Best Young Player. Lille's Lucas Cavalier claimed Best Goalkeeper, edging out PSG's Donnarumma. PSG winners of 11 of the last 13 Ligue 1 titles remain on course for a treble as they prepare for the French Cup final and Champions League clash with Inter Milan. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, we'll look at our top stories again. Has revealed that suspended Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara recently visited him to seek reconciliation. UTME candidates are set to sue JAM over technical glitches amid mass failure. We also told you that Ivory Coast's main opposition leader has resigned from his office but still vows to contest 2025 election. Do send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen, and you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Don't forget that you can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onabanjo.